Hello from the Rutland Melton CiCLE Classic 2016. We're here for Britain's only UCI one-day elite event. It's a brutal 179 kilometres that tests man and machine to the very limit. With over 180 top-level riders representing some of the finest professional teams from home and abroad, and thousands of spectators cheering them on, this quiet and beautiful corner of England is about to get very lively. Now in its 12th year, the race from Oakham to Melton Mowbray has become the premier one-day international event on the British calendar. It's a chance to see the pros challenge each other in a race that's tough, tactical and completely unique. And one of the things that makes it so special is the surface they'll be riding on. Most of the race takes place on fast, wide roads. But to shake everything and everyone up, organisers have thrown in a few treacherous farm tracks and off-road sections. Together with the King of the Hill climbing stages, it can make matters unpredictable, and it really gives teams and riders something to think about. Here's your race commentator Hugh Porter with a look at the course.
Starting in Oakham, the CiCLE Classic begins with 2 laps of Rutland water. 46 kilometres of wide roads where teams may try to break before returning back through the starting point. After this, the course heads west, taking in the opener of the King of the Hills before reaching Euston, where they will spend the next hours on narrow technical roads. Euston is the hot spot of the event, with supporters gathering to see the field, passing through the village 6 times on various loops, taking in many off-road sections. This is a crucial area of the race, with hill sections 2 to 5 being decided here and the location of the demanding Summerberg off-road sector. By the time they head north, taking in the final counter in the King of the Hills, the war of attrition has reduced the front group significantly. They pass once through the finishing line at Melton Mowbray, but have to complete another loop, including the final off-road section at Sawgate before reaching the finish.
Many teams have been here a while getting ready for race day. We've been meeting some of their top riders, all of whom are gunning for victory.
Hi. I think I've done every edition bar one when I bust my collarbone, but it's a special race in Britain, unique with its off-road sections. It provides many twists and turns, ups, downs, loops, so it's fantastic for the crowd, which also is important for the riders as well. So with the off-road, little roads and a great town at finishing in Melton, it has a real ambience to this event.
The course is great, ride out, loop round, all the off-road sections, and always a really good finish in the town. So it's some of the big names have won it in the past, so it's just it's a good one that stands out every year, I think.
I won the race in 2014 and it was the first time I rode it actually. I've only ridden it once since last year. I love the race now.
I did this race like last year also, and it was pretty great. Got really unlucky, got a puncture in last this gravel sector. But hopefully this year gonna be better. The guys are in pretty okay shape I think, and we will try to fight for some good places.
I've got the years and the strategy with me, and I've got a strong team, so we're gonna chase the victory for sure. First for the team, but if I'm in position to win, definitely I'm gonna try to do it.
Not easy, is it, this one?
No, we have one similar in Denmark, and I finished on the podium 5 times there. And I did Rutland in 14, so I know the roads here, so I'm just looking forward to race today.
Well, it's almost time for the race to get underway. Your commentary and analysis from Dean Downing and Hugh Porter.
Hugh Porter and Dean Downing welcoming you to the 12th edition of the Rutland to Melton CiCLE Classic. Well, let me just tell you, Dean has raced in this event 4 times and was in the winning team where Zach Dempster was the individual victor.
Yeah, it was a good race that year, Hugh. Nice to be in the winning team and get a teammate winning. But this is a very tough race, lots of twists and turns, lots of hard sections.
So Olympic gold medalist Anita Lonsford just out of shot. In fact, there she is. Flags away the 178 riders from a chilly Oakham bathed in bright sunshine. 179 kilometres lie ahead of the competitors with 2 laps of Rutland water, 11 off-road sections and 6 bergs to decide the king of the mountains. There are 3 past winners in the field. Ian Wilkinson's actually won it twice. There's Tom Moses of JLT Condor and the Frenchman Alexander Blaine riding for Madison Genesis, who won it on the worst day ever when it pelted with rain throughout the whole of the race.
Yeah, I didn't do that edition, Hugh. I was at home with a cup of tea, I think. Don't like the rain, but that was a hard race, that one in 2012.
Well, this is one of the monuments that all the riders want to win. They love to get a result on their Palmaris, and look at the crowd. They always turn out here in their thousands to flag the riders away. But the race hasn't started yet. As soon as they pull that flag in, that's the end of the neutralised zone.
Yeah, and after the race starts, it's a fast 2 laps of Rutland water, and every edition that I did was very fast. Upwards of 47 kilometres an hour or so.
And with a field as big as this, Dean, you could easily you could get yourself involved in a crash, couldn't you? A lot of twitching and looking for the right spot.
Yeah, I was sadly I was involved in a crash one year. I had to change my shoe, which was a bit crazy. But yeah, there's lots of big roads and then there's some small roads around the back. But as you can see here, the peloton is lined out already. Yeah,
high speed in the early stages. Riders eager to get on with this, and it's a massive field, so you need to try and hold a good position near to the front, and we've got riders eager to try and distance themselves already off the business end of the peloton. And that's one of the international visitors who's looking back and anxious to get on with it. And there's a little split actually occurring here. We'll get a shot, it'll show us that the peloton is being distanced, and now this is a perfect opportunity to hear the words of Tom Moses.
I think it's a real wearing down process, this race, so we'll just look to stay at the front, and everyone just gets dropped and dropped and dropped, and then there's only 30-40 of you left, and that's where you can make your move from at the end or ride for a bunch sprint.
We've got to be up at the front in each sector, trying to pick our line and being able to see where we're going. I mean, you can only control so much in this race. A lot of it's down to just luck and fate, but trying to make as much of our own luck as we can and just try not to get any punches or any issues with mechanicals.
The first hotspot sprint of the race goes to Pedal Heaven's Ian Wilkinson with this burst for the line in Oakham Town Centre. He's the only rider to have won the race twice, so he knows what's to come.
"30 miles into the race, you're into like a single track road straight away. So 100 and odd guys trying to squeeze down a car width road. That's its own challenge. If you're middle of the pack, you're not in the race really. So that is the challenge really, to position well.
Riding as a unit always helps. You're never gonna win by yourself. You need to have teammates. Even when you finish solo on the last 30k, maybe sometime on the TV you just see the guy who's gonna win, but it was your teammates helped you to stay at the front. You need a strong team.
If there's a small group up the road and you've only got one rider in there, the likelihood is that rider could end up having an issue and coming backwards anyway. Strength in numbers is key. Every rider almost counts in this. So if you're in the position where you could be blocking, the way to look at it in this race is you're actually in a position to put the pressure on. Even if you've got someone up the road, it might be worth putting the pressure on, because there'll be so many people going out the back. You're putting yourself in a better position.
Well, the Dutch team are all across the front of the peloton here as we leave Summerberg and are now heading on towards Ooston. But this is where, of course, you need to be vigilant as they use the full width of the road.
Oh, there's a crash there. That looks like Peter Cocker and Bradley Stokes. managed to stay upright. Hopefully he won't lose too much time, and he'll get back onto the back of the convoy. This is Peter Cocker's view of the crash. Very close to the edge. Looks like a bit of a coming together with both of those riders we mentioned, and there's the tarmac.
In fact, there's another chance to see it. And the good thing about it is the Planet X rider didn't come back into the peloton and take down others.
After about 2 hours, the tempo really increases when the race hits Euston, a small village whose population increases tenfold on race day. It's a maze of steep hills and rough tracks that the peloton will pass through 6 times. It's greatly entertaining for the spectators watching, and high-pressure competition for the riders, where the race could be won or lost.
Well, this is the field now approaching Euston for the first time, and the big crowd there are waiting for the arrival. This is where the atmosphere is, and I tell you what, they really do get behind the field.
Still a very big bunch, still a very, very big bunch. Looks like Christian House there is just coming down the outside. Christian's always in the breakaways, always going for the points.
And of course Christian House is trying to win the King of the Bergs or King of the Mountains in this competition, and he is a real seasoned pro, former British champion riding on the One Pro team. But look at that aerial shot there, that is perfect. It shows it as they weave their way through.
Beautiful shot there, beautiful shot. Looks like the Clark Hotel team are really taking to this race. Lots of riders near the front.
That's the Dutch team, as Dean was mentioning, and they are watching every move here, so they've obviously got a game plan that they don't want to let riders slip away and build a lead that is not bridgeable. Well, the race is now heading towards the feeding station.
Lots of riders represented with the teams here. One Pro Cycling, JLT Condor, Madison Genesis and Team Wiggins, Pedal Heaven. They're all at the front, and we have Christian House's onboard camera here looking backwards.
And of course Christian House is eager to try and add more points to the points he got at Cold Overton Hill in his quest to try and become the King of the Bergs. And we are nearing now the summit of Borough on the Hill. 5 points to the first rider over the top, and House is the master at collecting these classifications.
Yeah, that was a great shot there from the onboard camera of how busy the feed zone is, how much concentration the riders have to have.
So they're getting their second win now. The second climb is over. The result was first Christian House, second Tom Stewart, third Connor Dunn, and fourth Michael Thompson. So this is an attack now by Connor Dunn, the rangy Irishman, 6'8" of him. And this is a classic Dunn move.
Yeah, Connor Dunn loves a breakaway. Over the last few years in the different teams, he's been in breakaways in the Tour of Britain. Looks like he's going solo this time though.
Yeah, one of his most memorable breaks was last year in the World Champs in Richmond over there in the States. He went clear in a break that nearly lasted for the whole race. So the Irishman now really beginning to distance himself. He's a powerful, gutsy rider, Connor Dunn. He was on the own post squad last year, and now he's switched to the famous black colours of JLT Condor.
Yeah, he's trying hard there, but the bunch look to be sitting up. The gap's going to go out quickly.
It's a nice move here then by Connor Dunn, just concentrating as we get a shot further back down the peloton, and there's trouble here for riders.
Yeah, looks like One Pro Cycling's Martin Mortensen there's having trouble. He's looking back for his team car, and the back of the peloton's still stretched out. Just a little kick up there.
Well, it's a sporting family. Dunn, his sister, actually plays on the pro tennis circuit. So Connor Dunn has now made the gap. It's now all about concentration. The one thing about being ahead on your own here, he'll be able to pick the safest line, but there's no way he's going to keep clear of a fast-moving group.
Yeah, he's into one of the sections now. You can see the water on the side of the road, the dirt, the gravel. Great shot of how technical this course is.
And his team skipper, Russell Downey, knows all about it, so he could talk us through just what it feels like.
It's really nervous coming into the first gravel road sectors. Normally fast into there, everyone jostling for positions, and then it is really a war really.
Words of wisdom from Russell Downey. We'll have to see just how true they ring, and I tell you what, we're looking at Madison Genesis here, who are trying to chase down One Pro, because this is the camera shot of Christian House's bike.
And we're heading into Manor Farm now on the first section through the farm, and this is always really tough, some tight turns. There's Connor Dunn again, getting shouted at by the mechanic.
He's doing a good ride though, isn't he?
Yeah, and just look how slow he's going around the corners. He's getting some Getting a few slips. Oh, nearly,
nearly overshot it. Yeah, he nearly overcooked the corner there. It's quite difficult, isn't it, to work out what conditions are best, if it's wet or if it's dry. If it's dry, it's as though you're riding on a lot of ball bearings there. That was the exit from the yellow brick road, and now he's pounding his way out of Euston again.
Yeah, it's very tricky on the gravel through that section, and here we see one pro on board Christian House with another teammate behind.
Certainly are working well. One pro, they're going strong. They've had a lot of good preparation because they've been riding in Europe. They are a continental pro team, the only continental pro team actually in the lineup. But there are the colours of JLT Condor beginning to show now.
Yeah, you got Ali Slater and Chris Lawless there, just moving up the pack.
And Chris Lawless, of course, is a very fast finisher, so if he was in the hunt at the end, he would be in with an excellent podium chance. Rally also beginning to come through, and the team of Van Post. It's starting to fragment significantly here now, and it's exiting Manor Farm. Look at the field now. Well, welcome back to the CiCLE Classic, and big Connor Dunn is getting rather concerned. There we are, he looks back because he's about to get caught, and it was a valiant effort. He built up a lead of almost 50 seconds at one point, and he enjoyed the head of the race for around 20 kilometres, but it really was never going to succeed, Dean.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was happening there with Connor. 20 kilometres in the middle of the race, maybe a little bit of a waste of energy for the race today.
I can't believe that that was a plan. John Herity, the former British national champion, is the team director. But the trouble is, that's one of the classics, isn't it? He likes to go ahead. But now, look at this. You can tell the pressure is on because the whole field are lined out in a thin line.
Yeah, that's a very, very long line. A little bit of a climb here. A lot of riders in previous years have thought that this course is flat. Far from it. There's lots of climbs in the way.
It's an unforgiving course because apart from the off-road sections, and let's not forget there are 11 of those, there are 6 classified climbs, but then of course in between the roads are, whilst they have a good surface, they're heavy to negotiate.
Yeah, and Tom Moses at the back here, previous winner. Not sure what he's doing at the back there, but it looks like the pace is on. And some attacks again on the front of the peloton from Team Wiggins and Post. Chris Lawless just in the background.
Yep, Team Wiggins there. And also the squad of Pedal Heaven on the left. That looks a little bit like Rory Townsend to me, a 20-year-old, and I tell you what, he's a gutsy rider, not afraid of reputations. It looks as though he's setting himself up here to have a go.
Yeah, he's just kind of sneaked off the front there. Peloton aren't too bothered about what he's doing, but he's going good. Has a quick look behind, see if he's got a gap. He has a gap. Yeah, Peloton are sitting up, riders are drinking.
It's a good move by him, isn't it?
Yeah, he's going now, chasing the motorbike. Yeah, the bunch have set up, lots of Team Wiggins riders, Madison Genesis at the front, NFTO. Yeah, 85k's gone, and he's going for this one.
Yeah, it's a good move. I'm impressed. He's taking them on. Look at this, 5 seconds, the advantage as the group are trying to organise themselves to bring him back. But from the start, look at this, the way it's thinned down. The water of attrition has brought this group now down to 35 riders, but Townsend takes the left-hander very smoothly and he's eager to get on with it.
Yeah, he's having a look over his shoulder, he's having a look over the hedge, see where they are. He's onto a big road now. This is a fast section between the sectors. He has a very, very good gap, keeps looking behind.
Well, if he stays clear, he could pick up the 5 points at the top of the third climb at Borough on the Hill, and that of course would be chipping away at the advantage that Christian House has already established. Now let's hear some words from this man.
Like most riders, I guess, I just hope I don't that whatever happens in the race is because of what I've done, not because of any mishaps on the road. The main section of cobbles of dirt track in Alston is particularly dicey, so we'll see how that goes. But no real fears. Only that I managed to keep my head in that early section, which I haven't done in previous years. I tend to go off a bit hard.
Well, Team Rally all across the front of the peloton, and they were taking it easy there. It looked as though they were just putting the food in their pockets, as we confirm the lead at 1:20 at the moment for Rory Townsend. So he hasn't been able to contain himself. He said he didn't want to go mad in his interview. That's exactly what he is doing.
It's exactly what he's doing, yeah. Yeah, the peloton was having a little bit of a moment there of chilling out time, but Townsend's back on the sectors now. still pressing on into the ball bearing section here.
I still think that's a good description, actually. Well, this is where he's going to bounce onto the road and up to the summit of the hill here in Ooston. And waiting for him is a very special prize. He'll be very pleased because he's won his weight in beer from the Grain Store Brewery. Far too young to drink all that beer, Dean.
Yeah, maybe I'll give it to the staff. That's what normally happens.
But he's already then won a handsome prize, and also he's collected points in the King of the Mountains. So this youngster's going very well. Now the thing is, if he doesn't expend too much energy and he's tapping out a nice easy rhythm there, when we get a splinter group, which I'm expecting to see, he may just be able to slot into it.
Yeah, we're on board with Peter Cocker here. Obviously he's got back in the race after that small crash earlier on. And you can see how rough it is. There's lots of bounce around.
But look at Team Rally now coming to the front. I tell you what, they've got the race face on there, Dean. They want to pull Townsend back and try and launch a rider of their own. Ooh, you just see the twists and turns as they go through.
Lots of slides, lots of riders on the grass, moving up, trying to move up for every opportunity back onto the smooth tarmac.
Got to hold your place as best you can. This is the shot showing us further down the peloton as we come back to Townsend. 140, it's gone up again, as we confirm now. 57 riders are in the shake-up, so the off-road sections are being very costly.
Yeah, you can just see there Townsend stretching his back out.
And that's the blackboard on the back of the motorbike that the riders can see, and it tells them exactly what the advantage is that Townsend has got. Well, they're heading towards Cold Overton and Summerberg, and they are two testing sections of this race.
They look quite relaxed there. It's a big peloton still, but here we have an attack on the grass.
And this is an attack by the rider from Team Wiggins. I think this is Michael Thompson, actually. Looks like Thompson having a crack.
Yeah, and the bunch are not too bothered about that. Oh, there goes another rider just in the background.
So the gap by Townsend could come down, although it's showing at 1:35 as riders try to creep off the front of the peloton. If they knit together and start to share the work, then they can quickly chip away at the advantage that the lone leader has. There it is. We confirm the state of play on the road as the race now is beginning to ignite.
Yeah, so we have two riders now chasing each other. The peloton's sat up a little bit, but you would think that these two would get together, do a bit of teamwork, bit and bit.
That's what they call it in cycling parlance. One rider does a chunk on the front, swings over, and then the next rider comes through, hence the description, bit and bit. But look at this, the face of Thompson as he rolls on the saddle and sets himself out to try and get up to Townsend.
Yeah, he's not looking very comfortable there. His hands over the bars. Pretty dangerous manoeuvre that with so much gravel around.
Yep, but he's not on the off-road section yet, is he? He wouldn't be able to ride like that if he was.
Not at all, no. He's back on the hoods now, but he's really giving it some now.
And I think actually he's blown that rider away. Oh no, there he is, but he's finding it difficult, isn't he, to get up to him. It's the Dutch rider on the Amsterdam cycling squad. Can't get up, can he? So Thompson really is applying the pressure here.
Yeah, it's a strange move from both riders. That you would think that they would pair up and try and make the gap a little bit smaller. The gap's 140 now.
Still a good lead for Townsend. So the state of plays, we've got Townsend, Thompson, and this rider from the Dutch squad. And then the peloton, a depleted peloton behind, and we are really now getting into the business end of the contest. Well, it's been a fruitful escape for Rory Townsend. He's picked up useful points in the King of the Mountains competition. He has got 10 points, but in the lead it is Christian House who has got 14. But of course he's won his weight in beer as that special prize as he egressed Ooston. So a fruitful day for the youngster who's riding on the Pedal Heaven team. But the dreaded Summerberg awaits, and the One Pro team did their research the day before and we caught up with them.
Yeah, the One Pro cycling team have been out on the course on the Summerberg, looking to see what tyre pressures they maybe use, seeing how the dirt lies, which lines they want to take, but that can all change on the day.
Sector 6 and Sector 3 is the Summerberg. We spoke to the former national champion Christian House.
It's probably one of the most unique races in the UK in the sense that, it takes you down farm tracks. It's very different from virtually any race we do all year, So these sectors like this, like Summerberg here, it plays a massive part in the outcome of the race, and it has a whole bunch of, there's a technical ability in riding these, as well as a tactical awareness to these sections, and you have to ride within yourself a little bit and keep yourself safe, because there's no point in going as fast as you can over them and end up in a hedge, which is something I've actually experienced in the past, and the positioning is probably key. There's 180 guys all trying to be in that first 10, which makes for an interesting few K before the sections. You want to stay on top of the gear, pedal quickly, but a lot of these you got to stay steady for as well, because they're so gravelly, so you just got to ride smart. We actually go over this both directions at different points in the race, and this time we come heading back towards the finish, it's very late in the race, and there's only one other section. I've punctured on this section, and that's been my race over. So I don't necessarily think you'll win the race here, but you can certainly lose it.
Well, Rory Townsend is still leading, but as you can see, his advantage is becoming tenuous over the chasers Michael Thompson and Matthias Kudijk, the Dutchman. Peloton are boring down on the chasers, so I think their advantage is going to evaporate very quickly.
Yeah, Townsend has a perfect chance to choose his own line here into the dip. You can see how rough this section is. Really tough.
He knows now he is on borrowed time, but he's clinging to the front and basking in the kudos. Now then, we come back to look at Thompson bouncing and rattling his way across this rough section.
You can see there's some big holes, but he's also in a good situation where he's on his own. He can pick his line. Just in the distance there is the Summerberg.
Yeah, still 46 seconds, but anxiety is beginning to creep into his mind as the motorbikes start to go by. Clouds of dust. There it is, the peloton now being led by Madison Genesis.
Yeah, I just saw a few JLT Condor riders in there, but it is Madison Genesis. There goes Briggs on one side, Chris Lawless on the other.
Yep.
Madison Genesis pushing the pace as well.
Briggs in the black strip on the left, looking to try and get the front position here in the race. Look at the state of the road.
Yeah, that's a tough road. Is it a road, Hugh?
Well, I don't know, but it's certainly causing havoc here in the peloton. Look at the way it's fragmenting, breaking up. This is where a little group could form.
Exactly, yeah, this is the race is on now. Two of the big teams in the UK pressing the pressure.
Well, we're still waiting for the final selection when we can start to say this is the defining moment. We haven't got to it at the moment. It's the black strip of a JLT Condor at the front, and on the left it's the strip of Madison Genesis.
Yeah, that looks like Chris Lawless and Tom Stewart there.
Yeah, Lawless.
Just riding side by side.
Lawless in the black strip, super sprinter, won the Grand Prix of Wales before. Also going through there is Briggsy, who was the British National Criterium champion. So these two squads are beginning to pack very well at the front.
Yeah, that just looked like Alexander Blaine there, previous winner of this event. They all go out onto the normal road.
Swinging onto the, yep, there's another good rider, and that is Peyton. Peyton, of course, a former national CiCLE cross champion, so he will love these conditions.
Yeah, he's just going to be sitting in the wheels there. He has his teammate up the road with Rory Townsend.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that, and if Townsend does get pulled back, we can expect a counter-attack immediately. So Pedal Heaven actually are covering themselves in glory here in this race. Lovely aerial shot again of Ooston and the crowd waiting for the arrival of the leader. And it is still Rory Townsend, but for how much longer? Because the pressure now really being applied. This is team time trial formation on the front, and look at that, only 8 seconds now.
Yeah, the gap is very small now. Tom Stewart's just pulled to the side, and it's 3 JLT Condor riders that are taking over.
Two squads that ride on the British circuit working well together as the road just lips up a little bit. Briggsy on the left as they share the workload.
You could just see in the distance there, here on the corner, that there's been a split in the peloton. I'm sure that'll come back in these small lanes. Yeah, JLT Condor pushing the pressure on the front now.
Really hard to hold the wheel into the yellow brick road again. First time they've gone through it this way, and they can see Townsend ahead. So Rory Townsend is about to get some company, and after a valiant attempt, he's about to get absorbed. There he is. So it's going to be interesting to see the first riders that do pick him up, but fair play to Townsend. He's ridden very courageously.
Yeah, you can see how difficult it is to take those corners at speed.
Just watch the surface here again, riders. You need to... Oh, look at that for a crash.
Oh.
That's Slater that's gone down. He's also delayed other riders.
Yeah, it looks like he took a teammate out into the hedge, but here we are.
Have another look. Come on then, Dean, just describe this.
Yeah, I think he just gets his line wrong. He just comes in a little bit too hot, and a gravel patch. Oh, he came down heavy there.
Ball bearings.
That's it.
Right.
Never raced on ball bearings, but yeah, it just looked like he took one of his teammates out into the hedge there.
But the Frenchman, former winner Alexander Blaine, is upright, and now he is leading the race.
It looks like it's all back together. No damage to the Peloton caused with that small crash. Well, big crash from Alice Slater there.
47 riders then still in the hunt, 122 kilometre point. I'm quite shocked at that. I thought the field would be thinned out far more.
Yeah, they're coming into the feed zone again. Looks like Russ Downing on the front there, controlling the pace. Lots of the big teams, all of the big teams.
Russell Downing, former British national champion, also rode on the Sky team, winner of the Tour of Ireland, one of the most experienced. But Tom Stewart here is the man looking cool here as he dances on the pedals.
Yeah, they're all taking food on board, bottles on board. You can see how tight the road is. Lots of soigneurs there handing their bottles up.
And of course the crowds have turned out in their hundreds to watch this event. They love it. It's a little bit like a jamboree. They make a point of coming over. They find a section on the course and picnic and encourage the riders. Madison Genesis at the front, the team from One Pro and the black colours of JLT Condor. They're all starting to lick their lips at the final conclusion of this contest. We are nearing Sector 3, that's the Summerberg, which they will tackle for the final time. 140 kilometres covered.
Madison Genesis are lining up, and so is looks like Johnny McAvoy and Ian Bibby there from NFTO. Really pushing hard now. Last time over Summerberg.
Well, with just about 1 hour of racing left, the big guns are now starting to position themselves near the front. The big squads that have obviously been trying to keep their powder dry are now getting ready.
Previous winner of the race, I'll explain, really pressing hard. Look at that Peloton just lining out at the back.
Frenchman full of riding, trying to stretch the field out, and this is where the elastic could snap and riders could start to go clear. NFTO are on the left as well.
Yeah, like I said before, that's Johnny McAvoy in second place, in Bibby on the left hand side.
Bibby, a very powerful rider, has just won the Manx Grand Prix, one of the counters in the Spring Cup competition, and McAvoy, another very experienced campaigner.
There's a One Pro cycling rider on the outside, looks like Pete Williams is having a go.
Pete Williams, a man who won 2 classifications in the Tour of Britain last year, the Sprints competition and the King of the Mountains, and it's Pete Williams now coming through in some style.
Yes, Pete Williams is going strong here. Madison Genesis, NFTO, One Pro cycling, they're all over this. You can see the speed from that camera angle there.
Yeah, I caught a glimpse also of Dion Smith there, the New Zealander who rides for the One Pro team, and that indicates just how much damage is being done here on the Summerberg.
Yeah, there's some gaps there. Look at this at the back as well. Looks like Rory Townsend just having a... oh, there's a crash.
Oh yeah, riders on the floor again, and they're having a bit of a dispute there. It was your fault, no, it was mine.
Looked like a Metal Tech Kyoto team rider there having a bit of a dispute with one other rider. You can see the pace here. It is very fast out of Summerberg now. This is quite a dangerous part of the race. Look at all the gravel on there. Pete Williams is pushing hard.
And we might be getting to the point of selection here. The group has split significantly, and there are 35 kilometres remaining in this race. The pressure is really on now. It's every man for himself. Welcome back to the CiCLE Classic with 40 kilometres to go and the race heading for the finish in Melton Mowbray. Ryan Perry of the Metal Tech Toyota has the lead. Not on his own for long. One Pro's Pete Williams is working hard to bridge alongside Tom Stewart, Madison Genesis and the experienced Russ Downing of JLT Condor in the black.
You've got the legs, ride it from the front, and then you've got more control then really, and it's like I say, compare it to the races in Roubaix and Flanders and things. Never give up in a classic, because you think you're maybe 10th, 20th on the road, but 5 guys in front could get a flat tyre or do anything, so you may ride into a good place and could even go for the win. So just never give up.
And that's exactly what he is doing. He's in the leading group of 4 as they are nearing the line to start the final finishing loop here of the Classic, and it'll be 15.5 kilometres of racing. Let me just tidy up the King of the Mountains competition. Christian House, he's a clear winner in that category with 14 points, 4 ahead of Rory Townsend. But this is a very good group here. The composition is Ryan Perry of Metal Tech Kyoto, Pete Williams of One Pro, Tom Stewart of Madison Genesis, and Russell Downing of JLT Condor.
Yeah, looks like Tom Stewart's there, rolled over the line for the pork pie preem. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. But this is a very, very strong group. Pete Williams, a strong rider, Tom Stewart, Russ Downing, they've all been on teams together as well. Ryan Perry in there, very, very strong quartet.
So he'll be pleased with the pork pie then.
So would I.
And it's a massive pork pie as well.
So we're told, so we're told.
Maybe he'll give us a little piece, we'll have to wait and see. But here's the Peloton, and NFTO have been caught on the back foot because they're having to do the chasing.
Yeah, Dale After there was giving it some big turns on the front with another NFTO rider behind him, but still a small group of 36 riders, all coming into the finish with 1 lap to go.
20 seconds then the advantage. They've still got 1 more off-road section, that's at Sawgate.
There goes Russ Downing.
Yeah, great attack by Russ Downing, setting himself up here to try and establish a gap before he gets to Sawgate, which is 800 metres in length and probably the roughest of the off-road sections, and they're playing cat and mouse behind.
Yeah, the other 3 riders are looking at each other, not willing to chase. Russ has got a gap straight away.
It's a good gap as well, and Russ has been a top 6 finisher before, and he's probably the most experienced of that group behind, so he really has buried himself here, Russ Downing.
Yeah, you can see he's in the big gear there. He's going for the win now, I think. Less than 1 lap to go. Just coming into Sawgate, which is possibly the worst section of the course.
Now, if he could get through this with the advantage of around about 20 seconds, that would be very, very useful indeed. Well, it's 5 at the moment.
He's hitting this fast. Look at the holes. Lots of water. Lots of big holes. Still chasing. Looks like Tom Stewart's chasing back. But the peloton is not far behind now.
It really is on a knife edge, isn't it? Tom Stewart went through second, and the 3rd place rider there trying to keep up with Stewart. Look at this, they're all fighting for it.
You can see that this is a very, very rough section, water everywhere, riders left and right, not many left now, but Russ Downing, he's still going strong, pushing a very, very big gear.
37-year-old Yorkshireman trying to find the best line, if there is a best line, and at the moment it looks as though it is becoming profitable. He had an anxious look back. Now then, can he get out of this section still with the lead?
Yeah, he's come out of that section now onto the road. Big crowd at the end of Sawgate. Mechanics with wheels.
Approximately 13.2 kilometres to go. Perhaps a tad too far to try and hold off the chasers because they are getting very motivated. And here we are. This is where the chase really is beginning to unfold now.
Yeah, there's 1s and 2s. The peloton's in the background there, but Russ Downing's giving it full gas there.
Downing still at the front. Stewart trying to come across to bridge to him. 2 Yorkshiremen then at the head of the contest.
Yeah, 2 training partners. They live very close together in Doncaster. It looks like Alexander Blaine in the background. Madison Genesis chasing.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? They are actually packing strongly, Madison Genesis, as we get a shot at the back of the peloton. That's Thompson, who was away before, remember, from Team Wiggins.
Yeah, this looks like the back of the peloton, but they're not really going fast. But these guys are at the front.
So with approximately 10 kilometres to go, what's happened here now is the effort by Stewart getting up to the wheel of Downing really has ruined his chances, and they're all starting to come back together. So it's going to be status quo as Alexander Blaine, the Frenchman and former winner, is on the right and Stewart on the left. Now then, they're trying to work it out. Are they going to have a go?
Yeah, looked like a little bit of a rise there, and it has all come together. One pro are at the front, some of the foreign teams are at the front, Rally are at the front. Alexander Blaine looks to have just tried a little bit too hard. It's still Tom Stewart on the front.
Yeah, and the pale colours just behind, he's one of the members of the Dutch team that have ridden very well here, very cleverly. They have kept an eye on all the moves. Rally are represented. Well, they're still all in the shake-up.
Yeah, you can just see in the peloton there just coming back together. 2 NFTO riders pushing hard to bring this back together for one of their riders to have a go.
NFTO starting to come through here. That looks a little bit like the Kiwi to me, who's been riding well on the circuit in the early part of the season.
Bit of a lull in the action here now. Everybody looking at each other inside the last 10k.
I think it's Dion Smith actually there at One Pro, but look at that, an attack down the inside.
Yeah, great attack there on the grass by Alexander Blaine, previous winner, taking 2 other riders with him.
So it's Blaine now trying to have a go and get clear.
And a big sit up by the peloton, but that looks like JLT Condor rider with Connor Dunn.
So much now at stake, they're not surely going to allow this group to slip away. Yeah, it looks like rangy Connor Dunn, the man who was on the attack very early in the race, trying to come across. Well, an Irish rider's won this race before, Kieran Power, back in 2008, and now it's Connor Dunn doing the work for the sprinters in his team, and that's Chris Lawless.
Yeah, it looked like Madison Genesis were all over that attack as well with another rider. Maybe that was Griff Lewis.
You can't pick a winner here, can you? It really is going to be a very, very exciting grand finale.
There look some tied bodies there at the back of that peloton.
If we get a group as big as this swinging into the finishing funnel, we could be in for a mighty sprint. That happened last year, actually, when Steele Van Hoff grabbed the winner's spoils just ahead of Chris Opie. Now then, looks like Madison Genesis launching another move.
Yeah, that is definitely Lewis having a good attack. Ampos rider chasing straight after him. The peloton's nowhere to be seen.
That's Griff Lewis, the 28-year-old Welshman who comes from Aberystwyth, and he's got with him the Belgian riding on the Ampos team. That's Nicolas Verreken. So it's Verreken, the Belgian, with Griff Lewis, and Lewis doesn't look particularly comfortable. In fact, the Belgian's nearly going away from him.
Yeah, he can't hold the wheel. Well, he's back on the wheel now. That does look like Connor Dunn in the background, towing the bunch along.
Don't know too much about the sprinting ability of Verreken, but I don't think Madison Genesis will be happy with this because they've got sprinters in that group behind, and Griff Lewis, I would think, possibly won't contribute here.
Yeah, there's a big chase going back on, but they've got a gap, a 7-second gap. Looks like Ian Bibby's on the back, struggling to hold the wheel as well, but after close to 180 kilometres, dirt roads.
It's amazing, isn't it? Still undecided, but 2 riders just fractionally ahead. Connor Dunn now having a go. So the big Irishman, who's now based in Hertfordshire, trying to go clear. Exactly what he did early in the race. Well, the 2 are just slightly ahead.
Oh, big crash there from one of the riders on the outside of the road.
Oh, he certainly went down, didn't he? And that was Peter Pruss, the 26-year-old Estonian on the Latvian team. So that's the end of the day for him. He will not get back up to the leaders.
Lewis is still struggling to hold the wheel. He even swung over.
But look at Verreken here. This Belgian's full of riding. He senses the possibility of getting a lone victory. He's got wings on his wheels, and look, Griff Lewis is going back.
He's going back because he's given up. This is a great pressure from the Ampos rider for Verreken.
4 seconds already then for the leader. And we've got a load of teams here, so it's immediately put them on the back foot, and they're looking at each other, but the pressure and the speed is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's a long line of riders with Connor Dunn at the back, with Lewis as well on his wheel. Maybe Lewis is tired. He's just been in the breakaway, now he's having a bit of a rest on the back.
Well, he's looking back, isn't he, the Belgian, but the man that applied a big injection of pace there, that has done a lot of damage to bring the Belgian back, was the Dutchman who's riding on the Park Hotel team. That's Dian Boekeboom, who's on the national Dutch squad for the Team Pursuit for the Olympics in Rio.
Wow, here goes a big attack from Connor Dunn. Perfect timing. The other riders have sat up. This could be the perfect attack from Connor Dunn.
It is a good move. Look at the face here. He really is gritting his teeth. And I don't think JLT Condor were working towards this because they've got Chris Lawless in the group, who without a shadow of a doubt is the fastest finisher amongst the leaders here, but Dunn has gone for it.
I'd agree there, Hugh, yeah. Chris Lawless is a very fast finisher, but Connor Dunn's timed his effort perfectly. There you go, Chris Lawless is doing some perfect teamwork there, chasing Ian Bibby there. Everyone's looking at each other, which gives a great chance for Connor Dunn to extend his lead.
Yep, they're all watching each other, aren't they? Nobody really wants to contribute, so it's JLT Condor with the advantage, and he has got a handsome advantage.
And looks like Lewis has recovered from his attack earlier, and he's sneaked off the front in the finale.
So it's Griff Lewis trying to chase down Connor Dunn, and nobody else wants to have a go. They're all looking at each other.
It's like a track sprint, Hugh. They're all watching each other. Chris Lawless is perfectly placed at the front, watching everybody, all the other riders.
Yep, there is confirmation of the situation. Then Already Dunn has carved out an advantage of 9 seconds, and Griff Lewis is enveloped between him, the man we're looking at, and the head of the group, and he's gulping in the air here, and he's got under the Flamme Rouge. He's got just over half a kilometre to go now, and this is going to be the sweetest moment for the tall, likeable Irishman. It'll be the biggest victory of his career, and the massive crowd are waiting for the arrival of Conor Dunn.
Yeah, I'll know it's his now. Nobody in sight. Has a quick look around just to see that. Look at that, clear road.
And he'll be preparing, ready for the victory salute. Conor Dunn on his way up to the line. He has got the crowd ahead of him, and they have been informed of who is approaching on the PA system. Here he comes. Conor Dunn wins the 12th edition of the Rutland Melton CiCLE Classic. And that's a bit of a surprise. Here comes Griff Lewis up for second place, and there's going to be a right old cavalry charge behind for the final place on the podium. Griff Lewis then comes up to the line. He's not happy because he wanted to get his sprinter there, but runner-up, well, that's still a great place. Look at the charge here now for third on the extreme left. Look at the speed here of Lawless. Lawless coming up to the line. Lawless takes third place on the line. So great day for JLT Condor, first and third in the Classic, and the second Irishman to win the event in the history of the contest. Now this is the sprint from the bunch, and it is Torres of Team Rally that finishes 11th, just ahead of Russell Downing of JLT Condor. What a race. And here is the official result. Victory to Conor Dunn of JLT Condor, second Griff Lewis of Madison Genesis, and third Chris Lawless, JLT Condor. Seventh spot, the Frenchman Alexander Blaine of Madison Genesis, a previous winner. Well, Dean, what a contest.
Yeah, fantastic ring for Conor Dunn there. Third place for Chris Lawless. Great day out for JLT Condor.
And here is the result of the King of the Mountains, Christian House of One Pro Cycling. And thanks to that 12th place in the bunch sprint by Russell Downing, JLT Condor win the team award.
I wasn't really expecting to win. Just felt good all day, and didn't do too much stupid stuff, and got away with Chris at the end in a group of 8, and we were just hitting them, and I wasn't feeling that great, and then I just saw everyone swing away, and I just whacked it as hard as I could and got a gap, and then just dug into the finish.
Tell us how important this is for your team.
Yeah, really important actually, because got the carries points for Tour of Britain qualification, so it's important there, and obviously nice just to get a win for the team as well in one of the bigger races in the UK. So yeah, really good, really happy.
It's my third time, and I thought to myself, maybe third time lucky. First time I did it, I had 3 punctures, last time 2. Today I got lucky. I just literally rolled off the front, and I looked back and I had a big gap, and just so empty, and I was just looking just to try to keep the cadence up and whatever power I had left. I knew second was in the bag, and Conor did a great job to win, but I'm happy.
Well, that's it for this year's CiCLE Classic. Once again, a race that didn't disappoint, full of drama and surprises and plenty of action right up to the finish line.